What up, everybody? Welcome back to Profit Picks. I know it's been a while. It's been a long, long while, especially with the All Star break. Um, but we do always start the show by being transparent. And even though we haven't had any NBA, I was doing really, really good in college, and that has like took a full 360. So I'm still positive right now, but it's been an ugly week or ugly 2 weeks for college basketball for me. So need to do better there. And happy NBA is back. Veno, it's good to have you back on the show as well. How have you been?
Hey, good, buddy. It has been a long while since at least you and I have been on this show together. Maybe only like once in the last couple of weeks. Last night, um, last night was a tribute to closing line value for me. Lakers total, get it early, over 223 and a half. Watch it go to 229 and have the wrong side the entire way. It wasn't even close. When you're praying for LeBron to hit a 30-foot three to get you overtime to have a chance, it's not really good. But that being said, college basketball for me was real good last night. Skee 4-1 in college hoops. It's taken a little bit of a
Good
solid
stuff.
turn. I will say this: I have talked a lot about the record that I've had since December the 1st in all sports, and it continues to be really, really good. We're up 62 and a half units since December 1st. So you're looking at pretty long term now, 3 month span of winning here. So I'm happy with it. I think maybe we have a couple of edges in the NBA tonight. We'll find out, but we'll talk it through. We'll see what happens.
All right, we definitely have a lot of options. I think there's 9 games tonight. So let's get to it. And shout out to Daniel says, "What up, Ski? Met you at the Flamingo on Sunday. Good to meet you, bro. And yeah, hope all is well. You probably went home by now, so glad you made it home safe. And absolutely, it was great to meet you. Yeah, I've been a little bit more on the strip lately, Rob. um, I don't know. I haven't been at my usual spot, so I've been running into a little bit more people lately. It's pretty cool. All right, first game up. We're gonna go to Celtics and Sixers. Opened up Celtics -7. I'm sorry, opened up Celtics -8. Now it looks like -7. In total open 224 and a half. Looks like 225 or 225 and a half. Injury report. We're gonna look at Tillman out for the Celtics. For the Sixers, Gordon, Lowry, and Edwards are out. Everybody else looks like they'll be available. So, Rob, I'll say like this. I think these teams, neither one of these teams play at a crazy pace. But for some reason, when they play each other, they play high scoring games. And both offenses are capable. I mean, we know defense for Boston at least is capable, but maybe it's just a good offensive matchup for both of these teams. The two matchups this season have eclipsed the 225 that we're looking at tonight. I think this one is more of an over game. Do you agree?
I do agree. Partially because of what you just said. It just seems that the matchup produces points. The last time they played was the game where Boston was way behind Skee third quarter. And I think I'm doing this off the top of my head. So in the chat, if you have to correct me, correct me. But I believe that Boston scored something like 56 of the final 72 points or something in that game and won by 8, 118, 110, which would be over tonight's total of 225. So just to your point of they play high scoring games, you're going to get all of the Sixers here tonight, right? You'll get Embiid, you'll get George, you'll get Maxey. So the offensive firepower should be their head coach, Nick Nurse, said that they all looked pretty good yesterday. We'll see if that translates to today. Interesting with the Celtics, though, and another reason why I would like over in this game, even though it's been pushed up a little bit, so I'm kind of agreeing with the market, is the fact that Boston, I think you and I talked about it last time on the show, maybe it was somewhere else, but I think it was here. Boston made such a big deal last year, Skee, about playing well at home. And they went like 40-2 at home. Jason Tatum, every chance he got, we were bad at home the year before. We're going to be good at home this year. And this year it's going the exact opposite again. They've been a better
Yeah,
scorer on the road.
they don't give a damn about playing at home this year.
Yeah, it's definitely when you just go through the numbers, they're better offensively on the road. So that helps here too. I think Philly. I'll say this about Joel Embiid. He has put up good offensive numbers when he's been on the floor thus far. But you watch him on defense, and he's just no deterrent on defense anymore. He said the knee is going to take another surgery. It's going to take a bunch of time after that to heal the knee. Boston should be able to do what they want at the rim here. I think Philly tries to match. So I'm with you. If I had to play this one, I'd probably be on total over 225. And I think in some way, shape, or form, I'm still going to get there. Probably full game total. I would take a look at Boston team total as well. But I think full game total makes most sense to me.
All right, we are in agreement on that. A couple comments before we keep it going. B Daddy says the strip is fire. Yes, it is. I've lived here for time flies, Veno. I moved here in 2020, so I've got to know the strip very, very well. Shovel Bum says you ever hit the barbecue spot in Ellis Island? When I first moved here, and I live pretty close to the Ellis Island. I went there and tried a bunch of places, but I don't think I ever tried the barbecue place, and I don't really go to Ellis Island anymore. So that answers that question. And one more thing, shout out to Bryce. He said he missed his show. He likes when Vino's on, and he said he hopped on the package for the rest of the year. Let's make some money together. And Bryce, I'm not sure if you're talking about Vino or myself, but if you're talking about for me, that's a guy who got some confidence in me because I have not been hot lately. But this time of year is when the magic happens. So appreciate you, Bryce. Let's make that money for the rest of the season. All right, next game we're gonna go Grizzlies and Pacers. Opened up Grizzlies -1.5, and looks like 2.5 right now. Total open 248.5, and it looks like 250. Davis, only person on the injury report. He's out for Johnny Davis from Memphis. Nobody on there for the Pacers. So this one is I'm scared to death when I see 250. Like when I think about these two teams, if I would have thought about them maybe earlier in the season or last season or something like that, I wouldn't be too scared of 250. But for some reason, right now, it just doesn't seem like I want that right out the gate from All Star. If I have to pick a side, I don't think the Pacers can protect the paint well enough to prevent the Grizzlies from having success. So I think the Grizzlies have been the better team so far this season. So I'll lean with the Grizzlies. Not gonna play anything on the total or no lean on the total. What about you?
Yeah, as we sit here, Skee, we see 251s popping up in a couple of places. So there's no end in sight to where this total is going as we speak. It's funny. Years ago, when you and I did the Wagertalk NBA show together, we would talk about as 240 being the red line. Once it hits 240, we have to stop and think. But 250 is kind of the new red line. I've said it a few times here, and that stops me from playing over. And, I'm a guy who likes to play overs, but 250 is a lot. You're asking for 126, 125, and possibly 126 aside. Not that it's not doable with these two teams, because it is. But if you're going to play Memphis, where totals are concerned, you're almost better off playing Memphis first half. Because a little something happens to them in the second half of quite a few of their games where they go a little bit dormant scoring, put up big numbers first half, not necessarily small numbers second half, but less than what they do in the first half. So where Memphis is concerned at this price tag, if I had to play some form of total, I would likely look to either them first half team total or first half game total. Indiana's another story here. I mean, I watch enough of them and I bet enough of their team totals to know that they haven't shown really a consistent 48 minutes of offense but a handful of times this year. Like they play well or they get behind right off the bat, and Carlisle moans about them not getting off the hot starts. Then they'll get off the hot starts, but they'll sag in the middle. So 250 is too high for me. My recommendation to anybody who's looking to play total is look towards something first half, possibly Memphis team total first half. And I would almost prefer the side here with Memphis. Now it's been pushed up to 2.5, but I still think they could probably. It's going to be so high scoring that 2.5 becomes a very small number. Maybe Memphis side, but I didn't play the game either way. They priced me right out of that total.
Mark likes Memphis early, first quarter, and he likes them full game. That's a side that I'll be looking at as well. There's one here. Bag Mahomes says Skee don't hit Durango or Red Rock. I'm not really ever in that area. I mean, I have a friend who lives by Red Rock, but I'm hardly ever there. I have been there, but I'm hardly ever there. And I don't think I've been to Durango yet. Next game up, we're going to go to Cavs and Nets. Opened up Cavs minus 13. Hasn't really moved. Total open 222.5. Looks like 225.5. As far as injuries, Dean Wade out. Coro is questionable. Jerome questionable. No Cam Thomas yet, and Clowney out for the Nets. So I'll shoot this one to you first here, Vino. This is one where the total did go up about 3 points. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I didn't play the game for the simple reason, Skee, that Cleveland has a look ahead to the Knicks tomorrow night. And now Kenny Atkinson back in Brooklyn is always a consideration with the Cavs in some way, shape, or form. I think they beat them by 20 the first time they played them this year. And they could probably name their number in this game. But with back-to-backs, don't know exactly how the fourth quarter is going to go. Should it be somewhat of a rout? And the other thing that kind of, I don't know, pauses me where the 225.5 is concerned going over is that Brooklyn just plays so slow and not really in a lot of high scoring games. So for me, it was a total pass at first sight. I would say I wouldn't argue anybody off of the Cleveland side. But again, I'd be cautious here just because of that game tomorrow night against the Knicks. I think it has a lot more meaning to Cleveland. It's a home game. It's against a, Eastern Conference contender type team where this isn't much at all. And coming out of the break, we saw it last night. You can't really be 100% confident in what you're going to get out of shooters. Cleveland could dominate down low, but I choose to pass this one.
My guy, Pretentious Prodigy. I didn't get to get up with you, but what I met was it your cousin I met? I ran into him. But hopefully next time I can meet you, Pretentious Prodigy. Cavs and Nets. I agree with the move on the total. Something you said, like, even if it's a look ahead, like, that doesn't mean that the Cavs are going to lose this game. It might mean that the Cavs are not as focused defensively. I get that the Nets haven't really shown the ability to score without Cam Thomas in the lineup. But they've had a lot of time off. And I just think a fresh Nets team versus, like you said, if it's an unfocused, really Cavaliers team defensively, I think that both teams can contribute enough to get over this number. So I agree with the market pushing it up and over. I'm looking at the Cavs' recent games going into the break. 131 to 108, 128, 107, 134. Like, they can do a lot of the heavy lifting themselves. If the other team is struggling as well. So that's how I view this game. All right. Next one up, we'll go Bulls and Knicks. Opened up Knicks minus 13.5. Looks like 12. Total went down from, it didn't really go down too much, but open 244.5. I guess 244 is the consensus. For the Knicks, there will be no Josh Hart, no Mitchell Robinson, and Anunoby is questionable. And for the Bulls, Patrick Williams is out. So, Vino, this is one where I am pretty interested in. And I don't agree with the movement, but I think the movement was a little bit just injury related as far as the side is concerned. To me, I view these teams, like, I view the Bulls as a team who they showed us at the trade deadline they have given up. They're not trying to win. They traded away Levine. They wanted to trade away Vucevic. Like this is not a team that I feel like I should be putting my money on. That's just how I feel about the Bulls. I feel like they're very fine losing. That's what they showed us. For the Knicks, they've already lost to this team twice. Um, I think that they can, and when they've been big favorites at home, they've had success. They've covered, I think, 6-0 as more than 11-point favorites. So I'm not really scared of it. I would like for Hart to be in. I don't like that he's out, but I just a team not even trying to win versus the Knicks at home, less than team at that in the Bulls. I like the Knicks here. What do you think?
Well, what the Knicks have shown you, Ski, is they'll score enough to cover a big number. Right? And it's just so funny watching a Tom Thibodeau team that's all offense and very little on the defensive end. That may all change. We may have to stop in our tracks once Mitchell Robinson gets back into that lineup and can defend the rim a little bit. But for the time being, the Knicks don't play a lot of defense. They do play a ton of offense. And to your point about Chicago being fine with losing, if you want to correlate their results, the 4 games heading into the break with that thought, they lost those 4 games by an average of 24.5 points. So they got destroyed by everybody. And this is a team that sits in the final play-in spot. So maybe they don't even care. They're a game and a half ahead of Philadelphia. Good news for Philadelphia. There's a chance you can squeak your way in and maybe lightning strikes and you make a little bit of a run. But the Bulls, I'll give you a quote real quick from Kobe White, who's probably the best offensive player left on this team. When we come back from break, we have to look ourselves in the mirror and ask, what can we do better? He's averaging 18.2 a game. How can we come with a different mindset? Here's a guy who's telling you the mindset isn't there and they got to change it, whether or not they do. Billy Donovan's name is mentioned almost every day, is ready to be fired. I don't know. Chicago just seems like a total mess right now that's capable of scoring points, but certainly not capable of defending. Zach LaVine got out of there. His minutes went other places. Guys are happy that they've got those minutes now, but I don't think I want Chicago. And I thought I read yesterday that OG Anunoby practiced in full yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the floor here today. Now, he'll probably be rusty. He hasn't played in quite a while. But having Anunoby back certainly would help the Knicks down the road here. Maybe we look toward that tomorrow night, although maybe he doesn't play on back-to-backs against Cleveland tomorrow. But we'll see if OG goes in this game. I wouldn't be on the Bulls, though. The Bulls are a team you have to stay away from.
Yeah, Bulls have made the list, Rob. You know what list I'm talking about. Will not be looking at their in their direction anytime soon. Magic and Hawks. This one opened up 1.5 point favorites for Orlando. Hasn't moved. Total up about 2.5 to 3 points. Looks like 223. And as far as injuries, Jalen Suggs is still out for Orlando. Trae Young looks like he's probable. Larry Nance Jr. is out. Um, Man, the Magic, they need Suggs. I mean, I think that's what it boils down to. They've gotten healthy, they've had everybody else in, and they still haven't been able to get in rhythm and win games. Um, I was thinking it's going to come at some time. Maybe it's just when he's going to come back, and not having Suggs there versus Trae Young. I mean, it's a one-way ticket for me here, Rob. Where there's Trae, there's a way. It's Hawks +1 or pass. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't like it either way. I tried to talk myself into over in this game because the Trae Young point guard matchup against Cole Anthony, as you mentioned, but I thought the Orlando front line matchup was really good against what Atlanta puts forth defensively at this point in time. I thought that Wagner, Banchero, et cetera, would do damage here. But Orlando just doesn't score consistently enough. And again, I don't know the exact reason, not in the locker room, but if we take your idea that it's because Suggs is not at the point, then, Cole Anthony really is more of a scorer than a distributor. So that could be part of the problem. Who knows? Interesting to see that the line hasn't moved whatsoever in this game, but the total has pushed up 220.5 to 223. I just can't find a good enough reason to bet either side here. I don't trust Atlanta defensively, but in a game that's lined at 1, odds makers are kind of telling us that it's going to come down to something late in the fourth quarter. And if it comes down to something late in the fourth quarter, I want Trey Young, but I might want Banchero or Wagner on the other side too. So for me, kind of a crossroads there. I didn't play.
Fair, very, very fair. Clippers and Bucks. This one opened up Bucks -2. Now Clippers -3. And total open 225.5 up to 228.5. Lillard, Giannis, both questionable. Bobby Portis, I think, has been suspended for a good chunk of the season. Jackson is game time. For the Clippers, you now have, I could have sworn I saw Norman Powell. Let me refresh here. I don't see him right now. Let me just, I could have sworn I saw him pop up as questionable. Maybe I'm mistaken. But that would be a big deal. The line didn't move, so maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, he's questionable. So Norman Powell is questionable. Kawhi questionable. Coffee questionable. Eubanks questionable. My thought was I'm unsure if Giannis and Lillard will be ready to play after that All Star, and I'm unsure if either one of them will be on the court tonight. And I was thinking that the Clippers, they've been playing really good basketball. Obviously, like them better at home than on the road. But I do know also James Harden, when he sees Giannis on the other side, he still plays with a chip on the shoulder too. So I kind of want to go with the Clippers here. Line has moved quite a bit, but it's one way ticket. It's Clippers or nothing. What do you think?
Yeah, the Clippers are interesting, Ski, because they were real active at the trade deadline, including Ben Simmons, incorporating him into this rotation now. And I mean, early returns quotes I read, guys on the Clippers like what they see out of Ben Simmons, at least in practice. I'll give you a little something from Nicholas Batum, who talks kind of about the Clippers integrating new guys from the trade deadline into that 1 through 9, 1 through 10 rotation. They're so deep. He says, we have a lot of road games coming up. I think it can be good, though, as a team to just stick together, be together, get in the gym, practice, get to know the guys. We've got great big games coming up. And after the Phoenix game, if we're in great shape, then we'll be good for the rest of the season. So it kind of shows you where LA is pointing toward here. This Bobby Portis thing, what a disaster, right? I mean, I think I read a couple hours ago that his assistant mixed up his prescription bottles and gave him the prescription that's banned by the NBA. I mean, it's just crazy that happens to Milwaukee here, because Portis is such a huge chunk off the bench. And without him, boy, I don't trust Milwaukee in situations where maybe Giannis is sitting or Dame is sitting. I know you have Kyle Kuzma there now to score for you, but they seem to be, to use a phrase of yours, a one-way ticket as far as how they can play. And I think it's just all offense at this point in time. Not that it hasn't been, but I think even more so now. Total shot up from 225.5 to 228.5. The defensive disparity between these two teams is huge. LA is the far better defensive team. They're the far deeper team. I think LA would probably be the way to go. I wouldn't like to bet LA and not have Norman Powell, but still, they're probably the better team. I couldn't find a way to bet it, but I would say this. You may be able to just play Clipper team total against this Milwaukee defense at this point in time. I just don't think Milwaukee, they're lousy on the perimeter. Brook Lopez doesn't always defend the rim or grab offensive rebounds because he floats so much. I'd say LA Clippers team total would be the way I'd look, but I haven't played.
All right, next up, Hornets and Nuggets. Opened up Nuggets -14.5, 16.5 is the current number. Total open 227. Looks like 229.5. Kogi is out for the Hornets. You have Gordon, Murray, Porter, all probable. Watson is going to be out there. I can't go and lay this big number with the Nuggets, just based on I don't trust them defensively. Like, I know they still go out and their offense is so great, and the Hornets, they're not the greatest team, but 16.5 just feels like too much. I'll lean Hornets here, maybe even Hornets team total, but yeah, only ways for me to play it, and I have the total wrong on this banner. I'll fix it. But how do you feel about Hornets and Nuggets, Rob?
Well, I played the last 3 games we're going to talk about. I played them all, And this one I isolated and played Nuggets team total over 123.5. Few reasons here. Obviously, Charlotte's on back-to-back with travel going into altitude here, and Denver plays at the 5th fastest pace in the NBA. So my thought process is they're going to continue to play with pace. Charlotte's a little bit tired, coming back off the break, having a big game last night where they had to exert themselves to win 100-97 against LA, and now they're in Denver. Last night's game, Skee, and I spent a lot of time on shows this year without really talking a lot about potential points, which is something I use every day when I'm playing totals. Last night's game between the Lakers and the Hornets, with 104 3-pointers put up, had a potential for 495 points scored in that game. The Lakers could have scored 243 if everything fell. They scored 97 to show you how bad they were shooting the basketball last night. Denver, for what it's worth, over the course of the last 15 games, is the number one scoring team in the NBA. Last 15 games, Nuggets 125.6. Charlotte, if they do have any fatigue and they're not a good defensive team to begin with, I just think Denver at 123.5, 5 of their last 6, they've scored 125 or better. They should be able to get to 124 here tonight against this team. I don't think with much problem at all. They're number 9 in the league in defensive rebounding. Charlotte put up 51. I think they put up 51 threes last night. If they miss, Skee, it seems to me that there's a lot of runouts and easy buckets here for Denver. So I, like you, don't trust their defense because I don't think they care all that much about defense right now. I think they're just trying to outscore people. They know they can do it. So I chose to isolate it. I played Denver's team total over 123. It was 123.5 to be exact. They need 124 to cash my ticket.
All right, I like that. That could be a good one. Sun and Spurs. We've had a flip of favorites. Open Spurs minus 2.5. They're now plus 2.5, and total went up about 10 points. Looks like 238. Injuries. Well, we already know Wembanyama is done. Basio. For Phoenix, Booker is questionable. Grayson Allen is questionable. Market has already pushed this one up quite a bit here. If you got in early on and over, I mean, you did a good job. It should be Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix below 500. They should be the more cohesive team. You don't have Wemby. You got to add De'Aaron Fox still and figure out how to work with him. It should be Phoenix, but I really just don't trust them. Phoenix, another team that was about to sell at the deadline. I can't comfortably trust Phoenix, so I don't know what to do with this game, Veno. Do you?
Well, I did something with it, Skee, so hopefully I can get a return on what I thought was the right thing here. I think the move in the total plus 10 points was because I think late yesterday they pretty much confirmed that Booker, Beal, and Grayson Allen are all available for this game. Even though they're still listed as question mark, you expect them all to go. And the 10-point increase in total kind of tells you that they're going to go. So here's the dilemma, right? And I'm with you here because Devin Booker gets snubbed by the All-Star game. We see this happen to somebody every single year. And they put that chip on their shoulder. And if Devin Booker, which I think he will, put that chip on his shoulder, come out last 25 games or so, I expect him to play really, really well. Kevin Durant, we've seen him the last few days doing nothing but talk. Social media talk, interview talk, whatever kind of talk. But the most recent thing is defending himself for not wanting to go to Golden State. And in his quotes, you find him saying that he obviously wanted to stay in Phoenix, didn't want to get uprooted and go to Golden State, according to him. But beyond that, he wanted to see if this season could play out really well for the Suns. So I put those two guys together, and I feel like in my mind there's a motivation and a focus with those two, the leaders of this team. But to your point, we've thought that before, and they just don't come through, right? But I'm going to trust them here. How about this? With Wemby out, now, San Antonio, with Wemby in, is a better defensive team, obviously. But without him tonight, Jeremy Sohan is the starting center. They don't have a single guy in their 1 through 9 rotation above 6'9". it should be an open door to the rim for the Suns in this game. I would think should be key for rebounding for the Suns. San Antonio is probably going to try and utilize their speed. They got a bunch of wings in this lineup, guards and wings. And so they'll probably try and go quick. I think Phoenix can go with them. San Antonio, when I looked it up, 11 of their last 14 games, and a lot of these, the majority of these are with Wembanyama in the lineup. So 11 of their last 14, they've given up 116 plus with Wemby in there. So they go at pace. Even when he's in, he's a better defensive player. Without him, they should be giving up 120 plus. Tonight's number on Phoenix, team total was 119 and a half. I played it. I think, hey, we got to have some shooting here. But when all those guards were listed as available, Booker, Beal, Allen, to go with Durant and the scoring that they have and the fact that San Antonio is so small and it should be played at pace, I thought Phoenix up and over 119 and a half. The chance of them getting to 20 is pretty good here. They've been scoring pretty well lately themselves, at least in that vicinity. And without Wembanyama, I think they get to 120 tonight.
All right, last game on the slate, Lakers and Blazers. Lakers open 4.5-point favorites down to 3. Total open 225. Looks like 227. Right now, just Maxi Kleber on the injury report out for the Lakers. For the Blazers, no DeAndre Ayton, no Matisse Thybulle, Robert Williams, Scoot, and Jeremy Grant all questionable for tonight. Both of these teams were playing really good heading into the break. Lakers came out of the break and didn't look so hot versus Charlotte last night. Maybe they had a chance to, wake up after the break, after that game. I don't think a back-to-back is too taxing, right out the gate from All-Star break. For Portland, they were playing well. You don't really want to have that break, and then now you're missing DeAndre Ayton. I think it could be time for the Blazers to regress here. So just looking, the Lakers' weakness is really center position. I know that. Could be without Robert Williams as well as Ayton. Looks like it could match up really well for the Lakers to get a W tonight. What do you think, Veno?
I think it's almost like we talked ahead of time and you wanted to set me up with my play. Now, I had to go back and look this up. I don't play NBA player props hardly at all. I've played 3 this year, 3-0 on player props. I have to think that's something so crystal clear in my mind to play it. And I did play here, and you set it up for me. Donovan Clingan's points and rebound total for this game is 20 and a half. I'm just going to go back with you for the 2 games prior to the break when Clingan was a significant piece. That both games were against Denver before the break. So he was a starter because Ayton had gotten hurt the game before. He was a starter in their last game before the All-Star break. He goes 31 minutes, 17 points, and 20 boards. That's 37. Tonight's total is 20 and a half. The game before that, the game DeAndre Ayton got hurt, Clingan played 21 minutes, 9 seconds. In that small amount of time, he had 21 points and 7 rebounds. That's 28, playing less than half a game. The Lakers' deficiencies at the rim in the interior against Clingan, who said in a quote that he's conditioned himself extremely well to go these minutes. I would expect, Skee, that he gets somewhere in. If Robert Williams plays, let's say he gets 27 to 30. If Robert Williams doesn't play, let's say he gets 30 to 33 in this game. But 20 and a half points and rebounds when he's the only guy that's probably going to be on the floor to get the boards, and he's a scorer at the rim. And he also runs the floor really well. So he's a good guy to have on the break. We know that from his UConn days. I thought this was one of the easiest plays on the board. And again, I don't play props, but when I examined the game, it just stuck with me that he should have a big night here. For LA, real quick, just to go through the game real quick, I'm not so sure. You tell me, do you think LeBron and Luka will play second of back-to-backs here tonight? It's not the end of the world if they lose 2 in a row, because their 5th seed, number 5 seed right now is somewhat stable. So it's not the worst thing in the world if they were to go up here and lose tonight. But you think those 2 guys will play tonight?
I think I think they could. I think they could. Luca only played 33 minutes. LeBron did play 37, but I mean, like I said, they've had a week off already. Um, I agree with you though. It's not the end of the world if they lose. So maybe it's one where you want to wait and see a little bit. This is a game that tips off at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. So good points. But I would think that they both still play.
So if they do, to me, if they do, it just signals that they want to get Luca incorporated sooner rather than later. Right? It's funny with him, Skee, because the game that they played against Utah before the break, the offense looked really, really nice, like it was going to be seamless. And then last night it didn't look
Oh,
so seamless.
yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right about that. But I Get Money reminds me. I was thinking about this too. One person gonna be fresh tonight.
Yeah.
Reeves.
Yeah.
And he's probably gonna take a little anger out too.
Yeah, and
So,
that, as somebody who had over last night, I was disappointed when he got ejected. But to the point, right there, if Luca doesn't play, I'd almost think the Lakers would be more fluid offensively tonight if it were Reeves and LeBron out on the floor, and Luca took a night off, second of back to backs. Let's keep him rested, whatever. So when I saw the total bump up to 27 or 26 and a half, whatever it is, I thought, I could get there. I'd be happier if maybe Luca sat, but I think the Lakers, if he does play, they want to use these next 20 games. Just a point that they're making, that we want to use these next 20 games to make sure he's ready to go when we need him the most. So we'll see. Like you say, check the injury report, but there's a lot to consider here. To me, that Klingon player prop, and I don't play him, but I played it tonight just because it looks clear as day to me.
now that clinging prop is it definitely sounds like a good one. I'm in agreement with that over. Um, both teams. I mean, Lakers did add Alex Len, Jackson. They have Jackson Hayes, but Lakers defense is not why they're going to be winning games right now. Um, and the Blazers missing some rim protection should be giving it up too. So I agree with that over. I think the Lakers shoot it a lot better than they did last night. So I'll add Klingen on my short list. I think that's a nice find. That's the NBA card, Vino. Think we did a pretty good job. 9 games, took us 38 minutes. So now move it over to best bets. And damn, it's been so long since I've done this. I'll ask you, Rob, if there is a best bet that you would like to share, no pressure, feel free. But also, is there anything that you would like to promote?
What I always say, Ski, I'll just say that if you're not a current member of Wager Talk, go over to Wager Talk. That's where you can find all my work, all Ski's work. I know the link is in the description. You can get access to all the video content provided by Wager Talk every single day for free just by dropping your email address. So once again, if you're interested in selection packages, you can find the way to get me through the link in the description. Um, I'll say real quick, just going through your scrolling of all the people that you're meeting on the strip nowadays, for those who would like, there's going to be a point in the near future where you might be able to come out and see me and Skee together out on the strip. I'm going to be making my way to Las Vegas for March Madness, so we'll let you know exactly what we're going to do. But for those who want to come share a tequila and pineapple at some point in time, we'll be there. Let's go to what I said last Skee, because again, I think it was the thing that I saw clearest today. I think that Donovan Klingon prop is going to be the best bet that I have for this show. Over 20.5 just seems too low. I would expect it probably gets bet up a little bit, but it would have to get bet up a lot for me not to play it. I mean, the numbers that he posted, those 2 games against Denver, show me that he's more than capable against this team, at least in this specific situation, of getting over 20.5 points and rebounds. So that'll be the best bet for the show. Donovan Klingon points and rebounds up and over 20.5.
I like it. For myself, I will just say, just because I just remembered, but yeah, if you want to get the rest of the season from Kabang and myself, I think it's a buy one get one right now. So you can check us out at Wager Talk. And my best bet for the show only give you guys something I've played. I very well could add more, especially after talking to Veno here. Gonna talk to Kyle and Chris too a little later. So for now, my best bet for the show, you guys can get a better line than I did. Knicks minus 12 is the best number or 11 and a half actually is the best number I see at BetMGM. I think the Knicks can win this one by closer to 20 points. That's how much Rob said it. Bulls last what 3 or 4 games heading into the break, losing by what 24 points per game. I think we'll see another one just like that here tonight. So that's my best bet for the show. Rob, appreciate you taking the time to come talk out this huge 9 game card with us. Um, if you're free, we'll do it again tomorrow. For you guys in the chat, we appreciate you guys as well tuning in, capping the games with us, and supporting the show. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe so you know when we're live again. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I barely remember.